Hello and good morning, everybody. Welcome to our, sorry, I've just got to take that jacket off. It is warm in my little studio this morning, which is lovely because it is starting to get chilly and cold outside, which I love this time of the year, but definitely a cool change. I am sorry, I am a couple of minutes late. Already we have so many questions coming through on Instagram, which I will be answering in the stories, but I will do my best to answer as many questions as I can here as well. I hope you all had a wonderful Easter. I took the week off last week, and Polly, Theo and I, that's my son and daughter, we went to Sydney for the week, which was fabulous. Just played tourists in Sydney, went to the zoo, went on the ferries, just had a fabulous time. My husband is away on a fishing trip, so I was single mumming it for the week. So big shout out and respect to all the single mums out there, or all the single dads, because it has been hectic. And he gets home tonight, and I am very, very excited about that. And I have been Googling retreats and places that I will go next school holidays. So hello and welcome. If it's your first time here on one of our lives, my name is Edwina. I'm a registered midwife and I'm an emergency nurse, and I jump on here once or twice a week just to answer any of your questions to help you prepare for your best birth. So whether you're currently early pregnancy or you're later in your stages of pregnancy, maybe even you're just thinking about starting a family or currently on your fertility journey, wherever you're at. Perhaps you've had a baby and you've been following us for a while, and now you're using our sleep programs, or you've done our baby and child first aid programs. All of those we have to offer online so that you can watch them anytime, anywhere. But I get on here and answer your questions. But firstly, I've missed you all last week, so please say hello. Let me know where you're watching from. Let me know either how many weeks pregnant you are or how old your baby is. And while you're jumping on and saying hello and letting me know where you're watching from, I had a birth beat dad reached out to me last week, and often people who are in our online course or doing our programs, I'll jump on the phone with them or on a Zoom if they have any specific questions or something that they want answered or explored further. I forgot to turn my phone on to silent, getting calls. This lovely dad and I had a really good chat last week, and his comment was just that in the program, so in our online course, there's lots of talk about the role of the support person and their partners and dad's role and how they can really be actively engaged, not only at the actual birth, but in the first few days after and weeks after. And he said, on your Facebooks, I'm always saying, hi, mamas. And I thought that's a really good point. It's just a habit that I have slipped into. So I asked in the Birth Beat Facebook tribe this morning, and I'd like to ask here now, today, do you think your partners or support people would like me to run some sessions like this specifically for dads and partners? Let me know your thoughts about that. Do you think that your partner would have questions that they would want to ask of me? And I was thinking of just hosting kind of just a partners night or just a partners Q&A. And we can actually do that in the private Facebook group, or we can do it here on our public page, wherever you think your partner would feel most comfortable asking those questions, or we can even ask the questions anonymously and I can just get in and answer them all. I would love to know your thoughts on that. After you've said hello and let me know your thoughts of what your partner might want to know, please feel free to post any questions here as well for me to answer. Stephanie has said, hi, I have a baby girl who is 14 weeks old. Oh, how gorgeous. Steph, that is a beautiful time, isn't it? When they're starting to smile and goo and gar. Gorgeous. Danny is, hi from Alligator Creek with 9.5-month-old baby boy. Now, Danny, where is Alligator Creek? I can see that you're a keen fisher woman person. But Alligator Creek, I don't actually know where that is. I feel like it's going to be somewhere up north. My husband's just been up north in Darwin. So let me know if you think that your partners would like, would like sort of some questions specifically for partners or support people. Melissa has said, hi from Mornington Peninsula with 13-week-old baby girl. Hello, Melissa. Now, already a whole lot of questions have been sent through And this is one that I find a lot of people in the online program ask as well. So I thought I would jump in and answer this. Amy has said, hi, I'm pregnant with my first, a little girl, 29 weeks. Can't wait to meet her. Oh, Amy, how exciting. Now, Amy, I think you're joining us for a program this weekend. Your name is familiar to me. I was looking through the list last night. Annalise, hi, Edwina from Western Sydney. Oakley is 5 months next week. Doesn't it just fly by, Annalise? Oh, Danny, it's just south of Townsville, close to some good fishing spots. Yes, I thought so. My husband is obsessed with all things fishing. So this one is around thumb sucking. So for all of you who are currently pregnant, you're going to be thinking, what's this got to do with pregnancy? But we also do sleep and settle programs. So once your baby has arrived, sleep is such an important part of your physical and mental health, but also that of your baby and your whole family. And a lot of people say to me, should you offer a dummy? What if your baby's naturally a thumb sucker? Should you remove the dummy? I'm currently working with one of our online clients who has a 6-month-old, and her little 6-month-old is waking every couple of hours over the night. And I've been working with her for about 10 days. And Bub I think a few nights ago, slept from 6:30 p.m. till 4 a.m., which is the longest stretch he's ever done. So that was very, very exciting for this mama. However, he does still have a dummy and relies on the dummy to go back to sleep. So now she's wanting to look at transitioning the dummy away. So I'm helping her support her through doing that, just showing her how to do it with just little videos. And that's what our program is all about, making it super simple to watch and have me there holding your hand. However, a lot of people also say that they have thumb suckers. And with thumb suckers, it's very easy to remove the dummy and help them transition to not having the dummy. Some children just love having the dummy and that helps them to sleep. And if that's not an issue for you and your baby, then that's fine. That's the way with most sleep things. If it's not an issue for you and the family, don't worry about it. However, if it is something where the bub wakes up and is unable to resettle or get the dummy themselves, it can make for a pretty broken night of sleep. But with thumb sucking, there's not much that we can do to remove that habit. So often children will grow out of it. So at 5 months, I think you've just said, hi, my 5-month-old seems addicted to thumb sucking. How can I control or stop this? It's a very challenging one. I would say at 5 months, not to worry too much about it. Again, the good thing about thumb sucking is that they can find their thumb themselves. You're not having to go in and resettle them and give them their thumb back. If it's not an issue and it's not disturbing Bub's sleep or disturbing your sleep, I wouldn't worry too much at this age. Most children will grow out of it, but you need to wait until your child's old enough to comprehend what you're trying to teach them to do. And at 5 months old, it's just a little bit too early. So Rebecca, I would not worry too much about that just yet. Sorry, I've missed a couple of questions here already. Hello, Alexandra. Alexandra has said, just started solids with my little one and she's started to have a few little red pimples, rash on her stomach on day 3. Not aggressive, but with this signal an allergy, no swelling or sickness, etc. to accompany it. Alexandra, it's unlikely, and so I'm only saying unlikely because, again, I can't see your little bubba. It's unlikely that the first place you would see an allergic reaction would be on their stomach. You would often more see it around their mouth is where we more commonly see allergic reactions. I'm not saying it's not, it's just it's less likely. It could be anything as well, what the little pimple rashes on her stomach are. Alexandra, I don't know if you've got our online sleep program or not, because in our online sleep program, we actually also include a whole section on introducing solids and how to do that and how to space that and what to look out for in terms of allergies, because introducing solids and their diet and their nutrition during the day is actually really closely connected to the quality of sleep and the amount of sleep. So send me a DM if you're not. If you are part of the online program, just jump in there and have a look around that section on introducing solids and allergies. If at any time you have any concerns or if your child is unwell with an associated rash, it's really important that you also know how to look at that rash and how to assess that rash. And that is part of our baby and child first aid program. I think a lot of people think our program is just about how to actually save a baby's life, which is super important. Of course, we teach you what to do if they choke or CPR, etc., what to do if your baby drowns. But we actually also look at the basics of how to take your baby's temperature. What if they've got a fever? What if they've got a rash? What's a good rash? What's a dangerous rash? What's a bad rash? What should you do? What to do if they've got vomiting or diarrhea? All of those things are actually included in the first aid class as well. Only because of my personal experience as an emergency nurse, I know how important it is. So I really encourage everyone who's got a little person to make sure that they do that baby and child first aid class. And you can watch it and rewatch it as many times as you like. Tempest has said, hi Edwina, watching from the car on the way to Bateman's Bay for my birthday. Baby Theo is 6 months on Wednesday. Oh my gosh, beautiful Theo. I've got a little boy who's Theo as well, so I love knowing that. Theo is 6 months on Wednesday, and the last week he's slept terribly, waking every 2 hours and screaming. We moved back from Canada in March, so we've had lots of change in the past month, but managed to get him on a schedule in quarantine. He started the rocking first stage of crawling, but the nights are killing me. It takes a long time to settle. Reminds me of a 4-month progression. He has never had a dummy, but considering maybe getting one. Tempest, a couple of tips can I just give you for Bub Theo? It does sound like a 4-month sleep regression, and please just understand that those regressions, those sleep regressions, which remember I call a progression, actually can happen at lots of different stages. The 4-month-old one is probably just the most notable one. We have a blog on this, so go and have a look at the website and read the blog. It's got lots of tips and tricks on how to manage those sleep regressions. However, if he has just started rocking, first stage crawling, I would say that it's likely that this sleep change is associated with that. So some quick tips. If you are noticing that your baby's change in sleep, and have a look at what's happening. So whether they're more fussy, waking more frequently, more difficult to get to sleep, have a look at what their day looks like, and are they learning a new skill? So when your bubba is learning, so for this little bubba, let's say you're having lots of tummy time and eventually they're looking to start pushing themselves up, or that maybe they're starting to roll, any of those things for your little bubba starting to, I know exactly what you mean, where they're doing that rocking forward and back and looking like they're about to go crawling. Any of those things, that takes a huge amount of concentration and brain development, and it does impact their sleep. So what I encourage you to do is during the day, whenever your little Theo is doing those things, it's almost like overwork him with that, really fill his cup. Let him do lots of rocking, lots of crawling, get down on the ground, congratulate him, show everyone in the family, look at how clever Theo is, look what he can do. And let him do that over and over and over and over and over again, so that when he wakes during the night, he's not thinking, oh, it's time for me to practice these new skills, because that is often what can happen. So really fill his cup, let him know how clever he is, and let him again and again and again be practicing the new skills that he's learning during the day, and you're much more likely to get a more settled sleep because he's filled his cup. He knows that you think he's super clever, he's got to practice it, and now he's ready to sleep. So otherwise, if their day is filled doing lots of other activities and that new skill that they really want to practice, they'll wake and be wanting to practice that during the night. So try that for me for the next 24 hours while you're down at the coast for your birthday. Just make sure you're giving Theo heaps of time and lots of positive reinforcement about the new skill that he's learnt, and I'm confident that that will help with his sleep. I wouldn't go straight to introducing a dummy at 6 months. I don't think that's going to be the best or the easiest step for you. Jess has said, 10-month-old little man over the last 6 weeks is refusing the bottle. He has used a bottle since 6 weeks, although now will not take it any time of the day. Any advice, please? Jess, yes, look, this is very common, and it does happen as well with breastfeeding, where sometimes your baby will just decide to, not go to the breast. A really great pediatrician once said to me, a baby will not starve themselves. It's good just to remember that. unless they're unwell. But if your baby is still well and everything, still everything is normal, they don't have a fever, I just think that when I say a baby will not starve themselves, what I mean is a well baby is not going to stop eating and drinking if there's no reason. So is your little man starting solids? Is that, is he eating really well with solids, getting a lot of what he needs nutritionally from his solids? And does he yet use a sippy cup? So I encourage everyone, if your baby is not yet 6 months, to introduce a sippy cup at about 6 months with water. And again, it takes them time to learn that. They're not going to know how to do it straight away. And it might just be that you move, or you're transitioning to milk in a cup or milk in a sippy cup. I would not worry too much about that. You might just have a really independent little 10-month-old. He's getting all of his nutritional value from his food. So it's just his way of transitioning from being a bottle feeder. And really, you're only kind of 8 weeks off what the recommendation says for introducing a cup or a sippy cup and taking away the bottle or reducing the bottle. So Jess, I would not worry too much. I think you've said not take it any time of the day. Any advice, please? Honestly, he just might be weaning himself from the bottle, and that can actually be a really good thing and an easier way of going about it. Michaela Anderson said, would love to hear more about low-lying placenta and how this will affect birth options. Brilliant question, Michaela. I am just going to, give me 1 second. I don't know whether to use my pelvis or the cervix. Firstly, I just want to explain a little bit. Okay, so can you all see me okay there? Okay, so for all of the expecting mamas out there, this is based on an average woman's pelvis. So your pelvis sits like this. Here's your newborn baby. Your newborn baby in utero is in a bag of waters that sits like so. So Bub's head is down like that. That is what we call the cephalic position. This is what we call frank breech. Foot drop down is footling breech. Transverse is sitting like this. When your baby is sitting down like this into your pelvis, your placenta in the early stages of the pregnancy can be low. And that is what we refer to as a low-lying placenta, or you might hear it being referred to as placenta previa. As your pregnancy progresses, I was going to say increases, what is likely to happen is that placenta will come up the uterine wall and come to about here and sit sort of higher. What is important around placenta previa or low-lying placenta in the early stages, and again, a lot of people have it in the early stages of pregnancy. It's often where the placenta will start and it moves its way up. Why it is a risk or why it is a worry is if the placenta is here and it's what we say covering the os, which is the opening into the cervix that the baby's head needs to pass through. So there's a cervix here and there's an opening. If the placenta is between the baby's head and the cervix, and you go into labor or contract and that pushes, it can put pressure on the placenta and it can actually cause bleeding. So we don't want what's called a placental abruption, where there's basically pressures put on the placenta, you bleed, it can be very dangerous for you and it can be very dangerous for the baby. Now that's a super simple way of explaining it. So how it can affect your birth options are if you have a low-lying placenta or the placenta's completely covering the opening of the cervix and it doesn't start to come back up, you will be encouraged to have, or you will be asked to have a elective C-section. The reason being, we don't want you to go into labor and start contracting because that will push on the baby's head, that will push on the placenta. However, Michaela, how many weeks are you? That's what I would like to know, because a lot of people have low-lying placentas earlier in pregnancy, and it just means that you'll have another scan so that you can see either if the placenta's creeping up that uterine wall, which I'm sure and hope it is, but if not, again, sometimes it's just out of our control and your options are limited, and that if you do go into labor at later stages of pregnancy with a low-lying placenta, you will be encouraged to have a C-section. So just let me know how many weeks you are. Danielle says, hey Edwina, 38 weeks and 2 days. Can't wait Baby OP, any recommendations to turn him, her? Yes, absolutely. Danielle, are you part of our online program? Can you just let me know that? Because I can tell you exactly where to go in the online program and the exercises to start. For anyone who's watching who wants to know what OP is, when your baby, again, so his head down, we want your baby to be in this position. That is the most comfortable, fastest way for your baby to be born. What we don't want is your baby to be in this position where their spine is aligned with your spine. The reason being, when they come into the pelvis, that's the way they enter into the pelvis. It's longer, slower, and causes a lot more back pain. Whereas what we want is for them to come into the pelvis at that angle, and you can see that that's such a better fit for the baby's head into the pelvis. So OP is posterior, so we don't want the baby to be in a posterior position. If any of you are currently pregnant, go to our website, get the free resources, and there is a 10-minute video that I will send to your inbox so that you can save it there about how to get baby into the optimal birth position. It is a super powerful video. It's only about 10-minute exercise that you can start practicing daily, and just being conscious of the way that you sit and position your pelvis. Not having a posterior labor will make a huge difference. However, even if you do have a posterior baby going into labor, in our program, we've got lots of different positions, massage techniques for your partner, lots of different ways to make it less painful, faster, and a more efficient labor, because it shouldn't be long, painful, and uncomfortable. It is actually about making it a really positive experience, and we can do that. So Danielle, OP, you need to get moving with those exercises. People who are in the earlier stages of their pregnancy, absolutely go and download that video. It will make the world of difference. It actually makes you more comfortable just in pregnancy as well. I'm sure, Danielle, you're feeling lots of lower back pain. Rachel, hi Edwina, we're just over an hour out of Dubbo where I'm booked for baby's birth. I'm 35 plus 3 and get fairly decent, fairly decent Braxton Hicks contractions that are painful in my back and belly. Have the significant tightening across my belly and get more intense as they continue, and start off lasting 20 to 30 seconds and increase gradually to lasting for about a minute and come about every 2 to 4 minutes apart. These usually go on for hours. I'm nervous about knowing the difference between that and real labor, as I'll need to contact my hubby to come home from work, which can be over an hour away, and then get to the hospital, which is over an hour away too. My OB and midwives haven't been much help when I've asked about how to know the difference, and have just said that it will be what I have been feeling already. I'm getting anxious about it because fairly quick labor and births have run in my family, and I don't want to wait too long if it's the real thing. Awesome question. And I think it's also really good, Rachel, because we have people that follow us all around Australia, all around the world now. And the realities are, if you're not living in a city, you may have to travel pretty long distances. So firstly for you, Rachel, 2 little tricks is often with Braxton Hicks contractions. If you're lying down and experiencing them, get up and walk around the house or walk around the yard, and they will often stop or lower in intensity. If you're out and walking around and experiencing Braxton Hicks, try lying down, and they will often lower in intensity. If they're labor, often they will get more intense. So that's just a good, try that for me over the next few days. So if you're up and walking about, try lying down, and if they sort of decrease, it's very likely Braxton Hicks, and vice versa. If you're lying down, get up and walk around. The labor contractions will increase in intensity. Being your first baby, there's no guarantees, but it's unlikely that you will rapidly go into labor. You will, it does take time. That's the beauty of it taking time. However, some people do have very rapid births. What I will also say for your comfort and getting to the hospital, being on all fours in the back of the car or putting the front seat of the passenger vehicle down so that you can be in a more comfortable position. You want to be in an open, upright pelvis position, not sitting in the front seat, because that will be a very uncomfortable long trip if you are contracting and in labor. So on all fours, kneeling on the back seat of the car will make it a much more comfortable trip for you. Okay, guys, I will try and do 1 or 2 more questions. It has flown by. Carol has said, hi Edwina, 11-week-old who has normally been great overnight. He is express breastfed, and when he wakes up for his top-up feed at 1 to 2 a.m, he has started to escape his swaddle blanket. I re-swaddle and settle, but he continually gets his arms out and can't get back to sleep. I'm not sure why. Carol, awesome question, super common. Carol, I would strongly recommend, especially now that you've got a little 11-week-old, that you come and join our online sleep program. Either you can do, I think it's like $47 a month, so you know, a little more than $1 a day, and you have all the information there at your fingertips for the appropriate ages of your little one, because at 12 weeks, if they're getting their arms out lots, it might be time to start transitioning from a swaddle out of a swaddle, and I think you need probably just a bit of support on how to resettle. Bub is now waking up, so understanding their normal sleep rhythms. After about 11 weeks, all of your melatonin is starting to decrease, and Bub is starting to need to create their own melatonin, so their own sleepy sort of hormones. So this is a really big time of transition, and I think it's really important for mums to have this support around sleep and settle early, so that you know that you're just creating really positive sleep habits and associations. So just come and have a look at BirthBeat for that. It is super affordable, and you get all the information there at your fingertips. Or you can do the age appropriate programs. And for you, I would sign up for the 3 to 6 month. And you know, we have all the information that you need to know there. I need a glass of water. Michaela says, I'm currently 29 weeks and have a scan at 32 weeks, but my midwives haven't explained anything. Thanks. My pleasure. That's why I love being able to do this. So they will just check when they scan you again, Michaela, and see where your placenta is. Hopefully your placenta is creeping up. All right, team. Danielle, yeah, I am. I'll have a look. Good. Danielle is part of our sleep program, and I mean part of our online program. So yes, Danielle, go and look at I think it's in Extra Tips and Tricks. There's a 10-minute video there for how to get Bub in the optimal birth position. Practice that at least daily for the next couple of weeks so that we can get Bub out of that OP position. Plus, you can also go and see a chiropractor or acupuncturist that can all help get Bub into the optimal birth position. Nikki has said, currently 39 plus 2, laying in bed, breathing through and timing contractions. Yay! Waiting for them to become a bit closer before we head into the hospital. How exciting, Nikki. Can I encourage you, Nikki, just to get up and have a nice warm shower and maybe go for a little walk around the block and see if those contractions increase in intensity. Ignore the timer just for a little while, just relax, let your body go into it, and ignore it until you can't is my advice, because if it is still only really early stages, this could go on for a little while longer. Just be prepared for that. Rachel has said, I usually try walking and laying down and warm showers, etc., and nothing helps. That's with the Braxton Hicks. The only good thing you can say, Rachel, is that your uterus is practicing and being prepared for the marathon. All right, thank you, my pleasure. Oh, okay, look, quick one. Hi, Edwina, baby is 5 months and seems like she has the flu, still breastfeeding, but is there anything else I can do to help her? Salsa Bill, I will just say, if she has a persistent fever or she's unwell or she's not eating or drinking, you need to get them reviewed by a medical officer. If she just sounds congested but she's still feeding well, just keep an eye on her temperature, keep an eye on her wet nappies, keep an eye on how much she's eating and drinking. Even squirting a bit of breast milk up their nose can help break down all of the congestion and help Bub be able to breathe a little bit more easily. All right, team, go and check out all those free resources on the website. I will be in Instagram stories if I haven't managed to answer all of your questions today, answering those, and talk to you all soon. Okay, bye.